Houston, we have a problem.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Help me help you.
You are a toy!
My team is dead!
There's no crying in baseball!
Relax. This pot is making you aggressive. You complete me.
What is up, WBAM fam? Welcome back to weboughtamic, a pop culture podcast, a pop culture ball cast. That's right. A pop culture, hey, bada, swing cast. See? Welcome. My name's Ernest.
I'm taken aback by you starting a podcast with "What is up." Oh, yeah. I've just never heard. I don't think I've ever heard you say that. I'm Drew, and
joining us today, welcome back to the show, Bryan Adams. How you doing,
Bryan? Hey, good to be back. No, it's good. I'm doing good. I love Tom Hanks. I have my whole life. I also love Tom Cruise. That's fallen off a bit, but hey, I'm doing good.
We're glad to have you, man. This is a series on the films of Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks, the aforementioned. It's called Tom v. Tom,
Christmas with the Hanks.
Tom v. Tom, A Tale of Two Toms, Christmas with the Hanks.
Yeah.
That's the official TM title.
After Christmas, we can no longer say Christmas with the Hanks.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
No.
we said it more times than I thought we ever would.
Yeah, it's. I think the official title was meant to be A Tale of Two Toms, but the colloquial title was Tom v. Tom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I figured just might as well throw in Christmas with the Hanks, while we're at it. What do you think of the title of the series, Bryan?
I think it works weirdly well for like wordplay, and I like the Tom v. Tom because it feels like it is a comparing the two, pit the careers against each other. And I like competition, so I need to have a winner.
Yeah, you have a competition in you. We're always saying this. When we came up with the name and I told Lee the Tom v. Tom, she was like, okay, well, that means that every episode has to be two movies against each other, right? So you have to have a winner each episode.
And by God, Lee, I wish we were so ambitious, but we're just.
It's like, you know how hard it is to schedule this podcast already?
Uh-huh.
A double episode every time, dear God.
Couldn't do it. However, it's still in spirit. It is a competition, and there's no crying in podcasts.
There's no crying in podcasts.
Is that?
Yeah, no Hunter. He probably would have came in with that.
Yeah, I realized that as I was saying it. I was like, oh, where's my
our
buddy?
guy? It is Christmas time, so Hunter does have to go back up to the North Pole to help out Santa with the presents.
That's true.
He has to enlist.
He got drafted. And it's tough, and we miss him, but we're very happy for him. It's a bummer he's missing this episode. I wonder, do you know if he saw the movie?
The movie is A League of Their Own, starring Tom Hanks, directed by Penny Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's seen it yet. Well, no, this might be one of those movies that he probably watched with his sister like a lot.
Like a billion years ago. Yeah. I mean, he's
a sports boy.
It's a pretty ubiquitous movie. I had never sat down and watched it all the way through before.
Same.
And we're coming off of absolute Penny Marshall heater in Big.
Oh yeah, came in strong.
Yeah, have you seen Big, Bryan?
Yeah, man. Because so honestly, something that about this whole series with Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise specifically is, I mean, it could be Christian Slater thrown in. I've seen so many of these movies from like the 80s and early 90s, some late 70s. Because I've got young parents for my age, and I'd always have my dad telling me different movies to check out when I was in college and kill some time. Seen a lot of Tom Hanks. Big, I've seen a few times. There's a lot to that movie, man. Everyone remembers the piano scene, but like, there's a lot going on there.
That movie's fucking awesome.
It really is.
It's shocking how well it holds up.
Yeah, I loved it. Love the whole thing. And then League of Their Own, I'm assuming you've seen quite a few times.
it's like this, my rep on this pod. It's like all these episodes are movies I saw once a long time ago. Remember them being so good. And the rewatch, man, it wasn't as like fast or as much baseball as I remember. So, I'm not trying to get my thoughts away on it yet or any of that, but yeah, no, I like the movie, but it's one that I hadn't rewatched since it came out in 92. So I probably would have been 8 or 10 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it is. Yeah. So it's your first watch in a minute, along with the Bryan standard and practice. Honestly, we have a bunch of guests who that is always the case. They're like, oh, I did see that, and it's probably still good. I mean, this movie is far from the worst. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a bad movie.
I think that the trouble with this movie, I like the movie, but in the context of this series, it's a little tough because
we've been watching some bangers.
And then Hanks is not a huge part of this movie. He's like kind of the third lead behind Geena Davis and Madonna sometimes. Well, definitely behind Geena Davis. I don't know about Madonna.
And probably Lori Petty.
Right.
More than
it's really an ensemble movie is what this is. It's about this baseball team, this ladies baseball team, and Hanks is the coach. And I don't think he makes that big of a splash in the story. I think he's fun when he comes in. He has a very particular energy, which we'll get to because I want to talk about how kind of almost an anti-Hanks role this is for him, and where it fits into the oeuvre. But I think that all the best parts of this movie are just this lady ensemble and the direction by Penny Marshall. And it's very much just like a vibes movie. Like you said, it's not a lot of baseball. And I think when it does get to the baseball, as it's starting to round home, it's some of the least exciting stuff in the movie, I would say. I think the more exciting stuff is just these women like getting to know each other and building a bond and, just kind of the in-between stuff. So it's not really that much of a Hanks movie. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He's on the poster to sell it. That's for sure. Like, it's him, Geena, and Madonna on the poster, even though Madonna definitely has like fewer lines than a few different characters. But yeah, no, he's not the most integral piece of this. It's really, I almost wish the movie it seems like the movie has trouble figuring out who it wants to focus on. Like who, you know what I mean? Like who do we want to truly be our protagonist? Because ostensibly it's Geena Davis, who is like truly like watching it. You're like, damn, that's a movie star of a lady right there. Like she's like fucking 6 feet tall. You know what I mean? I don't know if this is pre or post, her
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
This was the year after.
Okay. So yeah, she's like broke. Like she's like she is fully broken, like as a star, because that movie was a hit.
She was also in The Fly.
Yes.
Which is not a huge movie, but at least she popped up in there. She's really good in that opposite Goldblum.
Yeah. She was awesome.
Her first role was in Tootsie. 1982. She's also in Beetlejuice. She the mom in Beetlejuice?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Winona's mom?
Her and Alec. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Great couple.
Yeah. So that's everything before this movie, before A League of Their Own. But yeah, I mean, she's great in it. I think that whether or not you vibe with this movie I think comes down to how much you really latch on to her character, because the movie, like you said, it struggles to find a core, and I think the closest you get is her.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's her and like her like little sister character, Lori Petty, who is at a certain point it becomes cloying to just watch her get sort of cucked like over and over again by her sister being like cooler and better than her. And at a certain point you're like, I get it. Like I get this dynamic, and I don't know if I cared enough about Kit for like that plot line to like really, really hit hard, just because that was almost like the main thing that we knew about her. Like she wasn't painted very thoroughly. She was mostly painted as like, yeah, this is Kit. Here's what you need to know. She's worse than Geena. Okay, got it. Moving on, and then all of a sudden the movie really wants that to be like a driving emotional, theme of the movie that's like making plot happen. So things like that don't necessarily work. You're completely right though, that like it's about getting this group of ladies together. Because a low key, like what I would call the glue guy of the movie is Rosie O'Donnell.
That's right.
She's fucking awesome.
I kept forgetting it was her. She looks so young.
And she's fucking awesome. She's really funny. Like she has an insane natural humor to her where it's just like she's delivering lines that aren't funny and making them funny. She's on fire in this movie, and she's it's a great one too of her and Madonna together. It's a good time.
I think all my energy was spent on remembering that was Madonna. That I kept forgetting it was Rosie. So what do you think, Bryan? Dive into your thoughts a little bit more. I kind of want to hear like, I want to talk about like sports movies, baseball movies in general, but I also want to hear your thoughts just about the movie on its own, not just how it fits into like the larger, the Letterboxd list,
Top 20 baseball movies of all time kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, this one, I had the same thing when I was rewatching it of like just a lot less Tom Hanks than I remember there being the first time around. And the whole no crying in baseball scene, like he gets the memorable lines and the scenes people remember. But watching it, Rosie O'Donnell was cracking me up. The little one-off, like throwing stuff in during the baseball tryouts and all these different lines. And I'm watching it trying to think if I was in 1992 watching it, like, damn, Madonna and Rosie were a pretty big get, I feel like, because those movies back then didn't seem like it was an ensemble cast brings everyone in. I don't know. It feels like more of a novelty getting non-actors in the movies back then. So
that's definitely true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like Madonna's huge, bigger than I think I do understand. So I feel like
I'm trying to look it up on the fly right now because I feel like it does feel weird that a person as famous as Madonna is in this movie, right? Like,
I mean, this is like very, slightly post peak in terms of pop star fame for her. And this same year, Wayne's World comes out, which she is,
she's in Wayne's World.
You could say that.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie. I remember I have this vivid memory of them like running, like driving into like, what is it, like watermelon carts or something? Is that movie?
I'm drawing a blank on the movie too. I know I've seen parts of it, and I remember like Garth and Wayne and all like the memes in the background.
Now I'm doubting myself because she was also in a Wayne's World SNL sketch.
That might be it.
Frick.
That might be it.
That's a bummer. But regardless, yeah. So it's, I mean, early 90s. She was sort of a mid to late 80s mega star, but she was as big as anyone. So.
Yeah. My thing with Tom Hanks, it's like, I don't know if the actor brain can do more with less, or if it's like NBA analogy, come off the bench for 10 minutes and you 15 points in 10 minutes and like doing more than you can be expected to do. Cause like Tom Hanks, I remember him because he was funny, but I'm watching it and he's like playing the heel, playing like a not great guy.
Yeah. He's fucking like,
yeah, he's like an asshole, man.
He's pissed drunk. This whole movie.
Well, I guess we can get into it now because okay, so this kind of jumpstarts the Hanks run, like formally, because you have Big and then you have Joe versus the volcano. It's kind of this movie that really kicks off the run, and we're off from here. You did have like smaller pops like The Burbs and Turner and Hooch in there in 1989. But this is kind of like the official start of the run, because I feel like Big was just kind of like, oh, here's a great performance, Oscar nominated performance in a great movie. And then Joe versus the Volcano is like, oh, maybe this isn't going to quite happen. And I feel like this movie is really what kicks it off. And it's a performance that doesn't really feel in line with what we know Tom Hanks to be. when we think of 90s Hanks, it's not this guy. It's not this drunk, this mean drunk.
He's being a ham in this movie. Like you know what I mean? He gets to really, I'm sure he enjoyed that fact that he was like, yeah, no, that's right. I'm not just a fucking nice guy. Maybe I'm a bad guy who also has a heart of gold at the end of the day.
Well, I'm just kind of curious. I mean, Tom, maybe come on the pod and tell us, but
I know, right?
When you think of like, I just can't help but think of Elvis is I think the point that I'm trying to get at. Did you see last year's Elvis, Brian?
I didn't, but I've seen some scenes with him in it.
He's
what are you thinking?
He's kind of like a villain in that movie. It's pretty much the role that he's playing. So
he's played some shittier guys as he's like grown older and started to look kind of more of a villainous, have a more villainous vibe naturally.
But he's fighting the persona. He's fighting the public image all these years later. He wasn't doing that back then.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes me think about, how in those early stages of his career, as he was starting to really break out, I wonder if there was any intention into how he wanted people to view him. Like, did he want to be the kid from Big, or did he want to be the drunk from A League of Their Own?
Well, generally speaking, I'm sure he enjoyed being able to have some versatility,
options,
and,
right.
Yeah, and some agency. However, if you want to star in the movie, you're the kid from Big, and if you want to be,
part of the ensemble,
then you're a villain. Especially, back then, there weren't, because he's not up for the types of movies where the villain is the main character. He's not up for Goodfellas.
Right.
Like he's
although I would love to see that. Just throw Hanks in Goodfellas.
I'm funny to you. I don't really have a Hanks because
that was close enough.
I was thinking like the closest that he, like, this performance reminds me in terms of his oeuvre. It reminds me the most of like certain points when he's playing Woody in the Toy Story movies.
Yeah.
Because Woody becomes the
abrasive.
antagonist. Yeah. Woody's an antagonist at some point in each of those movies. Because he's fucking annoying. Yeah. And he has that same vocal register in this movie where it's like really cartoony. You know what I mean? He's going like, wow, he's like all over the place. Like notes wise that he's hitting. That's
a great comp. I think that maybe what we're circling here is that Hanks might have one of the few, the rare abilities to be that shitty, abrasive guy, and also you still love him, you still root for him, right? Because I'm thinking ahead to You've Got Mail, right? Like he's kind of the villain of You've Got Mail.
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole in that movie.
But that doesn't, people don't think of that movie and think like, oh fuck Tom Hanks.
No, not at all. It's a good and it sort of does show the evolution as well, like from Sleepless, which we're doing Sleepless, right?
Yes.
That's got to be soon.
Yeah.
Really excited for that. In which he has played like this universally beloved angel of a man, all the way to You've Got Mail, where he's like this gruff, sort of aged a little bit dick. This is sort of a preview for that because he's young in this, but he has, he's chubbed up a little bit since the last time we've seen him. He looks kind of crappier, and he's playing a lush. Like he's playing a dude who is like literally blackout drunk all of the time. He's a fucking washed up retired baseball player.
I kind of love it. It's kind of great.
It's cool. Hanks is one of those dudes who gets the critique that he always plays the same guy. And it's, to an extent, like, yeah, he's not going to blend into character like he's fucking, like he's DDL or something. But I don't know. He has some versatility. And I had a good time watching him in this, even though at points I was like, I wonder what the casting process was, because I'm sure like there are other types of dudes that they could have gotten here. You know what I mean?
So maybe we can put the plot into some context here. Brian, what did you think of the framing device of old Geena Davis? That's kind of how this movie starts, is like the older version of Geena Davis, I guess how would you describe this? Like being, because the payoff isn't until the end of what's actually happening. At the beginning, it's kind of mysterious, like how the old version of her is going to be, how we're going to get this flashback to the actual events of the movie. What did you think of all that?
Yeah, no. So before I watched it, I didn't remember that intro scene or like the first couple scenes being kind of in the moment scenes, and then it goes to a flashback is most of the movie. I thought it was good when it cuts back to the end, like the end of the movie does that time jump back to present day, and mannerisms, I guess, chalk it up to the different baseball girls acting. I could tell which of the women in their like 80s and 90s was which baseball player back in the day. So I thought it was cool they did that. I like a storytelling device. I'm always a fan of flashbacks, but I don't know, man. Watching the movie, I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and it's like, it's not some super layered story or film with different themes, and it's just like a good story. I don't know. I thought it was a good way to start it. And if you're not like a baseball fan or hadn't heard anything about the Women's Baseball League, all this is kind of based off of. It's a fun pseudo-fictional history lesson. I like period pieces, so take it back to the 1920s and all that, or 30s or 40s.
It starts in 88 and flashes back to the World War II era, so it's got to be like 40s, right?
Yeah.
So it's I guess this is a real thing, huh? The all girl baseball, whatever the MLB version.
But you're right, Brian, in saying that like that's almost where the accuracy ends, is like there's a general concept of this happened and then that's it. The characters are not based on real people. Like,
what about the ending though? The Hall of Fame, that's got to be real.
I don't know. Is it?
So I think it's real, just because I was looking into doing like light podcast research on my phone, and I saw these clips from like cable TV, ESPN, and it was some woman in her, like older woman in her 90s wearing like ski goggles and a baseball jersey, and there was some moment I think where that's they put him in Cooperstown or the big baseball Hall of Fame. I think it's Cooperstown, man. I feign baseball fan, but I've fallen off the past
it's
10
Cooperstown.
years.
No.
Okay, cool.
So I found it on Wikipedia. So the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League is real. It existed from 1943 to 1954. So pretty much just that right at the end of the war and then into the next decade. Just to kind of give a little more context, it's basically the whole reason why they're doing this is because the men are fighting the war and they can't play baseball. That's exactly, that's the whole point of the movie, right? That's why.
Yeah. And so like John Lovitz is going town to town being like, you know any dames who play baseball?
Hey, see,
you're not.
I wanted more.
I know. Yeah. Right.
John Lovitz cracks me up, dude. Every movie I see him in, he's just a little rat race guy to me in the heart always.
Can we just clink it to our guy?
Who?
Wait, I'm blanking on his name. I'm trying to look at the list. Oh my God, is he not on this list? Stratharian.
Yeah, buddy.
David Stratharian. Why isn't he on the Wikipedia cast? Oh, he's down on others. He's not. Oh, because the Wikipedia splits it up with the actual Rockford Peaches is the team name, and then others. So Lovitz is down there. Plays a guy named Ernie Capadino. He's the scout. Oh. And then Stratharian. There we go. He plays Ira Lowenstein, the general manager. So then Gary Marshall is the other guy.
Yeah, he's the candy magnate.
He plays a guy named Walter Harvey, who is based on the actual Philip K. Wrigley, who started the real life All-American Girls Professional Baseball League.
Of Wrigley Field fame, obviously.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, there is a basis in reality, but then they went and made a fun story about it. So speaking toward the sort of the plot devicey thing, which, like, you know, people talk a lot of shit about that as a device because it's been done and done and done. I thought it was pretty dumb until the end, and then I was like, this is nice.
The ending makes it. Yeah. Because at the beginning, I'm like, let's let's get on with it. Like, what am I watching? I'm not here to see some old ladies. Let's get to the goods. Let's get to Madonna.
Yeah,
and then the ending is like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense. Speaking toward, because generally, if we have any problems with this movie, they're going to be script problems. This movie is written by WBAM legends at this point. Lowell Gans and Babalu Mandel, writers of Father's Day.
Oh my God.
And Robots.
No.
The gods themselves. They have graced us for the third time.
Hey, this is nuts. They got nominated for an Oscar for Splash.
Go off.
That's crazy. That's an insane script. People were doing too many drugs back then.
They got away with writing a lot of movies that like stunk over and over and over. I think a lot of it because of this. Like this movie did well.
They also wrote City Slickers. I've always wanted to see that. It's been on my watch list forever.
Yeah. But I mean, largely, we're all sort of saying like it's good when they're hanging out. It's less good when other things are happening, right?
Oh my God! They also wrote Fever Pitch.
Yep,
Fever Pitch.
So we were joking. I'm like, it's not really a baseball movie, but it has baseball. And my girl Stephanie, she was like, the Drew Barrymore, Jimmy Fallon movie. Is that a baseball movie kind of thing? And like, I don't know. Fever Pitch is a classic, man. That's a good one.
I've never seen it.
When are we doing our Jimmy Fallon series?
Oh God! Can we cover the Finger saga on Patreon?
Yeah, and we can cover his Zoom apology to his staff for being a bad boss.
Oh God! Oh my God! Was that the follow up to the Rolling Stone article?
Yeah.
Oh God! Did you see this, Brian?
I read the gist of it. There was like the James Gordon stuff came out and the Jimmy Fallon stuff came out. And all these talk show hosts, man.
Except for my boy Colbert.
Colbert,
He
good guy.
just wants to be a nerd.
Conan, cool guy.
Conan, you can't even call that guy a talk show host.
Not anymore.
He's just a guy. He's just true. A great guy.
I hope he takes the David Letterman route and ends up with a really good Netflix series and interviewing people. I like the David Letterman stuff. I thought he's a good dude.
We can only hope. Conan right now, his main claim to fame right now, other than this podcast, is he co-stars in the Please Don't Destroy movie on Peacock.
I'm going to give it a watch.
Yeah, I mean, we have to, we gotta support our boys. Mm-hmm. They're I don't know what's going on with them, but every time I see one of their SNL sketches, I'm like, woof.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Could be better. So yeah, the movie in general, it introduces us to these two sisters where one is way cooler than the other one. And that's the dynamic from the beginning. It is fucking airmailed to us. You know what I mean? Like they do everything they can throughout the whole fucking movie to make sure we remember.
Yeah.
Geena Davis is better than Lori Petty.
At a certain point, I kind of just spaced out during a lot of these scenes.
It's like, give me a fucking break. I'm not like, stupid like Babalu.
Yeah. A lot of these scenes, I'm just like, all right, I feel like I'm just watching the same scene over and over again. So I feel like I can just like get up and like go to the bathroom or something.
Luckily, we got John Lovitz going town to town trying to find some dames. He is really entertaining in this movie. He also pops up in Big, the other Penny Marshall movie, in a smaller role, I would say. In this one, I agree with you, Brian. I wanted more of him because he does, once he fulfills his job, he leaves and he's gone. And you're like, oh, I miss that guy. But yeah, so he finds, he wants Geena. He doesn't want Kit. So that's a good, it's a good way to do the sort of tension of like refusal of the call where like Gina's like, no, I'm not going to fucking do that. And Kit's like, yeah, but they'll take me too. She's like, fine, I'll do it. So we're assembling the crew. We're Ocean's 11ing for the first chunk of this.
So it's just money, right? It's just like, we need to fill this slot and we don't have enough players too.
It's just like,
that's all it is, right?
Yeah. It's just him being like, I want to try to like do something in the meantime, you know what I mean, with like my investment into baseball. So let's see if we can make this into a thing. And it's like, it's not doing well at all. They're mostly, trying to get the sexy ladies and just make it like a, kind of like a joke version of baseball. They don't care about like making like a serious product on the field. And we get to see that evolve over time. You know who else is in this movie, in the crew? is the third Cusack.
Yes.
Anne Cusack.
Yes.
She plays an illiterate
She has
lady.
that look. Oh God.
Wait, is she the one that can't read?
Yeah.
Bro, I wasn't like on one the first night I watched this a few days, like weeks ago. I started tearing up when that came out. I'm like, oh, she can't read. That's why they're yelling at her. She's not like slow walking up to the board. She doesn't know she made the team yet. She can't read the board.
sad.
It was really nice. And then, and then they tell her that was a nice little moment. I enjoyed it. One thing I bumped on a few times in this movie is that there are, I'd say 3 ladies on this team that look really similar to each other.
There was a lot of that. It was kind of just like Geena Davis, Madonna, and then everyone else.
Lori Petty looks exactly like the lady who played Evelyn, named Biddy Schramm. They look so similar that I was like, why would you ever cast this lady in the movie? They look fucking identical. It was very frustrating to watch. And then there's a Reiner in here.
Okay.
Tracy Reiner.
Love to see some nepotism.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's this one woman who we're being told over and over how insanely ugly she is. Meanwhile, she looks pretty similar to Rosie O'Donnell's character. Like
Rosie looks good in this movie. She was hard to pin down.
No, I know. It's just back in the day, if you were like built, that means you were just like butt ugly, apparently.
So, okay. So Rosie O'Donnell, she's queer, right?
IRL?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia, she has been an outspoken advocate of lesbian rights and gay adoption issues. Okay,
she hosted the Tony Awards.
Whoa! All right, we don't need to investigate any further. She has played a lesbian mom on Will and Grace, and she came out as lesbian in during her run on Will and Grace in 2002. Okay. She said, "I'm a dyke. I don't know why people make such a big deal about the gay thing. People are confused. Their shock like this is a big revelation to somebody." The reason why I bring this up is A League of Their Own was remade into a miniseries on Amazon Prime that I don't think anybody watched.
No.
Do we know any person alive that has seen that?
No.
On purpose? No.
If they have, I cut them out of my life.
But the whole thing with that show was that it was very much leaning into these women being lesbians.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what this movie is about, but they can't like really do it.
Yeah. No, that's really true. Like the other woman who looks like Rosie, Maria Hooch Marla Hooch is her name in the movie. Like when they're recruiting her dad is like, "Listen, I'm sorry she's ugly. I raised her as a boy. I raised her to be a lad. It's my fault. Please bring her." It's so weird. But yeah, there is a good amount of that. And them, finding this agency and this ability to be like independent women over the course of it. So it makes sense to make it. That's not like a retcon situation where they're like, well, if we're making it now, everyone's got to be gay. Like it actually, I'm sure there were a lot of gay women in that league.
Well, also you're just extending the time spent with these characters. So naturally that's, if you're going to pick one thing to expand upon, I feel like that's one of the best options in front of you.
And then Jimmy Dugan does like a hate crime.
Oh God. Watch that actually be a plot point in that series. It was the girl from The Good Place. Janet from The Good Place.
Oh, she's in A League of Their Own?
Yeah.
Wow.
Darcy Carden. And the girl from Broad City who's not Lana.
Abby.
Yeah. It's them too. So I feel like Darcy's got to be the Geena Davis and Abby has to be Madonna.
You mean Lori Petty?
Sorry. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. You see this issue I was running into this whole fucking movie.
Let's see. Abby Jacobson plays Carson Shaw. Oh, these are different characters.
I mean, why not?
Carson Shaw and Max Chapman.
Those are just those are just fella names.
And Greta Gill. But there's still the Rockford Peaches.
Well, thank God. You know what I mean?
Who's the Hanks?
I don't know. Who would be that guy? I mean, it would, you know, in an ideal world, it would be like fucking Adam Driver or something, but
Nick Offerman. Interesting. I kind of like that.
they put a lot of money into this little miniseries, huh?
Nick Offerman.
Amazon stays paying for shows. I'll tell you that.
I feel like I don't think I'm going to watch this show, but I feel like the way you do it now is like you don't need the coach. Like that's something I kept thinking about is like Hanks feels like he's just along for the ride. Like he's not really contributing. He's not really doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like drunk off to the side. I don't know. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I was watching it. It's like, I like the scenes where he does get some time. There's just way less than I expected, but every time it cracks me up. He's burying his face in the water fountain at the locker room. Not really coaching for the first hour of the movie. I think he's got Geena Davis doing the coaching, and then at some point, little pride gets challenged or something. But then they do some baseball sign battle, and
that was really fun.
It cracks me up. Yeah.
Yeah, the sign battle was great. I think it takes too long for him to start having an arc. I think for like so much of the movie, he just sucks.
He doesn't even have an arc.
Well, I mean, toward the end, he like an arc of like starting to give a shit about the team.
I guess
I was surprised by how long he spends sucking, like completely sucking as a guy.
Yeah, they're on the bus ride and like, I don't know, tire crashes or something. Bus driver quits, and the old manager lady on the team trying to wake him up. And it's, I don't know, all these scenes that I remember with him, it is like a one-note guy that's funny because it's Tom Hanks, you know, America's sweetheart, but he's playing kind of a dick and just spitting dip on people's shoes and getting Geena Davis to start chewing tobacco. I don't know. I don't know if she was dipping in that scene, but they're all just spitting on the ground. And
Is there?
Yeah, Tom
is
Hanks,
that your
really
cat?
Is that a dog?
Oh, this new microphone.
Are you watching porn?
Is that porn? I got my little Chihuahua mix at my feet. I don't know what he's asking for, but he just wants the mic for a second. He was watching the movie.
He
with
might
me.
need to go pee-pee. I got my guy right here. He's being a good boy.
Yeah.
He was being a bugaboo earlier.
Yeah, he was being
getting in the way.
Little shithead.
He needs to stand right in front of me while I'm setting shit up and like just block my feet.
You know, I don't want to jinx things either, but I haven't smelled a single fart yet.
He's been good lately.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's ever since we took him to the doggy hotel.
He realized how much worse it could be.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they have like a machine that just sucks them all out. I don't know I never go inside of any of these places. You just drop them off in the lobby and you're like, well, I hope you're not in a cage.
Wow.
All right. So A League of Their Own. So what else happens in this movie? I like the dance scene with Madonna.
It's awesome. Yeah. Madonna's fun in this. She's playing like a whore. Basically.
I know. There's like one scene where they're like, oh, who hasn't seen your tits?
Yeah, she's just playing like a nasty lady who likes to fuck. She's fun.
Teaching the illiterate lady how to read with like some old playbill book talking about
some fucking smut.
Yeah. She'll read it someday anyways. And
yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, she played character well.
Yeah, I enjoyed her presence in the movie. You know, it was a fun person to have. It's just funny. I feel bad for Lori Petty because like the whole point of the movie is that she's overshadowed and she's not on the poster for the movie. But despite being,
yikes,
you know, having the second most lines in it. But that, you know, that sort of speaks to generally an issue that I had watching it is like who I think if the movie was better, it would have figured out a way to make her more likable and that would let us spend more time with her. Because Geena Davis should not be so likable. Geena Davis was just such a star. You know, that watching her, you're like, wow, that's, you know, she has magnetism.
I'm kind of bummed that she didn't have much of a career.
Well, I mean, it kind of speaks toward how Hollywood you know,
we always talk about this, like female movie stars in this era, like 80s, 90s, now that they're, you know, in their golden years, are just completely forgotten. She hasn't done anything. She's in the Stuart Little movies, which, you know, we love to see, but other than that, it's kind of non-existent.
she's 6 feet tall.
Wow.
IRL. Yeah, like she's despite like having like a clear movie star aura, she isn't traditional, because like traditionally what a woman would have to play
Petite.
is someone who's next to a man. Yeah. And that sucks. Also, I mean, she has, you know, she's like one of those celebrities that always pops up under like celebrities with a genius IQ. So she, you know, she has interests and applications outside of Hollywood.
Hey, there were 22 episodes of the Geena Davis show in 2000 to 2001 on ABC.
And they tried to give fucking everybody. Was it a daytime talk?
It's a sitcom.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We should try to dig it up.
Yeah, I can't think of too many things I know her from. Blanking right now. Alias. Tell me a couple other movies. You say Aliens?
No, she's not an Alias. That's Jennifer Garner. She was on a show where she played the president, and it was on ABC in the early 2000s, and everyone was like, a show about a lady president? What?
Commander-in-Chief.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
05 to 06, 18 episodes. President Mackenzie Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Brian. What were you going to say?
Oh, just thinking about it, like not knowing any TV shows she's been on, in my brain that's like, does kind of see, you know, Clooney's more movies than TV, but I do have that thing where some people, if I only see them on TV shows, a TV actor in my brain kind of, but like Geena Davis definitely seems like the movie type. And it just feels like weird picturing her leading a sitcom, I guess.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That is weird.
Genuinely. I mean, Thelma and Louise is just like it's such a fucking movie. That's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
I hope we can cover it someday. But
Susan
unfortunately, we
series?
will simply never do a series on a woman. No, I'm joking. It is harder though, because their careers are just like thrown in the garbage.
Yeah,
like way younger than men's careers are. It sucks. But hey, I do some Sarandon. Brad Pitt's in that movie, a young Pitt, Twinkie, like 150-pound Brad Pitt. That's an awesome movie.
These are some of the Susan Sarandon movies that we could cover. Rocky Horror Picture Show, That's My Boy, the Adam Sandler,
Andy Samberg, where he washes his dad's car in a sexy way, and Adam's like, that's gay.
Bull Durham,
another baseball movie.
Speed Racer, love me some Speed Racer.
Really, Geena Davis should have been an action star.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the physicality, right?
Yeah, and she has like she just has like a strength to her. She's very statuesque from all angles.
Do we think that these ladies actually learned how to play baseball?
I mean, ish.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, and if I rewatch it, I might be wrong, but I'm thinking I don't remember so many camera cuts to throw the ball and then cameras behind the ball watching it soar 100 yards. Like, I feel like they were doing some sprints, and I saw something where they were treating a bruise that was actually a real bruise from filming, because they'd be doing like slides and stuff, practice takes, and I guess, yeah, you can't slide in those dresses they had to wear.
That I was literally
not functional uniforms.
I was just reading that in the Wikipedia that Geena Davis had an interview with MLB Network, Costas at the Movies. Is that Bob Costas?
Let's go.
This is years later. This is in 2013. Talking about how they rip the skin off their legs while sliding to the bases because of those skirts, because they didn't have any protection.
Mm-hmm. Based on IRL thing. Also, another thing that was true to life is in the real women's league, they did make them go to like manners school, which was a fun sequence in the movie. But they really made him do that just in order to like be on a fucking baseball team. It's lame.
1940s. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, so we get to see sort of the evolution of this league. Really, that's what I enjoyed the most is once we're in the meat of it, where like the ladies are having fun. They're coming together, and also this league is slowly growing in popularity. That was cool. It almost reminded me of like the modern day equivalent is like the Savannah Bananas, like this. Is that softball or baseball?
Baseball. It's like a minor league farm league team.
Yeah.
Well, no, because farm league's like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really know how they operate, but it
says they're an exhibition barnstorming team.
Yeah, they're in this like nothing league, and they've managed to make every Savannah Bananas game like a sellout event because they do like fun, like Harlem Globetrotter style shit. They make every game like goofy.
We live kind of close to Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
How far is it? Like 5 hours?
I don't know. You want to go see a bananas
let's
game?
go to a bananas game.
We've both never cared about baseball. Let's start.
Hey, they won their league championship in 2022 last year.
Good on.
They won in 2021. They're the reigning champions.
It's funny because it is sort of similar. Like they do stunts to make their league matter, and that's what Geena Davis is doing in this movie. Like she does the split while catching the ball because she's like, I don't know, I just thought, and it works.
Perfect photo capture right at home plate.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know. She's just super well cast as like the person who just like everyone is like, oh, you must be the star of the team, right? She is. So that's really fun to watch. And then as that's happening, finally we get the tires rolling on Jimmy Dugan's little mini arc of him like starting to be like, wait a minute, what's going on? Oh, this is kind of cool.
One of the things I love about Hanks in this movie is like you don't really see him drink that much. You just see him be drunk.
Yeah.
There's like I feel like another movie would just have a bunch of scenes of him at a bar, like getting poured liquor in front of him, and that would do most of the work.
That's very smart. Yeah, you really do. You just see him like fucking asleep.
There's a couple shots of him taking shots out of a flask, and that's kind of it. Like for the most part, you're kind of wondering like, is he just like this? Like,
yeah, does he just fucking suck? And that's how you know he's a hardcore alcoholic, because they're good at not drinking in front of other people.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And also just his behavior. I mean, it kind of keeps you on your toes. Like you're kind of left wondering, like, are you fucked up right now? Like how are you in the clear? Like you don't really know at any given moment when he's interacting with any of the ladies, like how fucked up he is.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah,
I like that he kept the knee, like he hurt his knee, I guess, some like past story they talked about a bit. He kept the limp the whole movie. Didn't really notice till the end. And then I was watching some YouTube clips and he's limping like the whole movie a little bit. I don't know. I really like the scene
Hanks.
when he's talking to the team owner, and it's like he's not a good dude, but the comedic timing, he's still a funny guy just at the core. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool that he's such because I mean he's not retired, but he played in the World Series for the team, maybe the Cubs, I think. Fictional story, I don't know, fake stats, but I don't know. He seemed like that rugged alcoholic type that at least had a sense of humor about him. He wasn't a complete dick. He was a little ornery, but I don't know. Interesting role because he's not a nice guy.
I mean, it just kind of makes me wonder about most of those MLB guys from that era, like the Babe Ruths of the world. They kind of, a lot of them are kind of this guy probably.
Yeah, totally.
He wasn't big like Babe Ruth, so he couldn't fucking perform at that level.
Yeah,
he's just a smaller guy, but they were all kind of like this.
Yeah, and he was a big enough deal for the club, but he blew all his money obviously, and back then I'm sure there was less money to go around. But yeah, no, I mean this still happens. This is still what goes on with retired athletes. Is like they, a lot of them blow their money and then they just sort of like ask their signature organization, like their old team, like, is there some fucking role I can play here? Can I be like, a quality control assistant or some bullshit like that? Like, just let me be around because like I cannot get my shit together right now. Because yeah, you get into partying, You didn't having a good time. There are a couple. I know one retired baseball player that lives locally that is like very famous for just being an insane alcoholic. Another, not just Jimmy Dugan, another JD. That's all I'll say.
Let's have him on. Come on the
Shall
show.
we? Okay, fine. Good.
Talk some baseball movies. I did have the Letterboxd list pulled up. I looked up a couple different ones. So this one comes from Beeslow is the Letterboxd user. The list is called baseball movies. Because some of them I like. This is why I have to make my own fucking lists, you know, because some people, they put some movies in there that are not like, why would you put Ferris Bueller on a list about baseball movies?
They go to a damn Cubs game or Sox.
Okay,
one of the
so
two.
any movie where anyone goes to a baseball game, you're going to put it in a letterbox list? No.
My favorite baseball movie is Twilight.
Is that in here? It's not. That is a great scene.
That's fucking
That's
awesome.
an incredible shout out to fucking
Muse.
Yeah, that's what it is. So this list I sorted by popularity. Guess the number one. We can all guess it. Come on, easy. The number one baseball
Moneyball.
movie. Yes, absolutely. Moneyball.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
On Letterboxd.
I love Moneyball.
Letterbox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Letterboxd.
Oh,
said
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Then Everybody Wants Some, which I still have never seen.
And that's that's one that
Ricky Dink.
in terms of like quantity of reviews, it's because it came out like during Letterboxd existing,
Right.
So it's gonna have a lot of reviews. I really want to see it too.
Then A League of
pretty
Their
good.
Own.
Oh yeah, everybody wants some.
Dude, I watched that Richard Linklater because I like the Fast Times at Ridgemont High movie he
Fuck
did.
yeah.
I think 'cause
No, he
that and
didn't.
Dazed
He
and
didn't do Fast
Confused.
Times. He did
Dazed and
Dazed.
Confused.
yeah, Dazed. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I watched that back in college, and it had a couple of guys I recognized. A pretty good feel-good movie. An ensemble of people that I do not know, but it was. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good time. I
Glenn
wouldn't
Powell
put it
is
on
in
a-
that.
Baby Glenn
Yeah, from
Really?
Top Gun Maverick.
from Anyone But You.
Oh, coming soon. We covering that? We're doing a whole ep
Sydney Sweeney miniseries.
mini series or mega series.
Hit the Quagmire now.
Fucking shit. Boring shit.
The buttons have been just not. I gave you 9 great options here, and they have not even come into play this episode.
We've been in conversation.
We could do. You could have used that so many times.
Very nice.
All right, I'm gonna finish listing out some of these baseball movies. The Sandlot, Field of Dreams.
Sandlot is an all-time classic.
I've never seen it. I haven't seen like any of.
You never
these
seen
movies.
Sandlot?
I don't know what sports is.
It's just,
I'm so scared.
I mean, Sandlot's like a kid's movie, obviously. So your mileage may vary as an adult, but like as a kid, it makes such a great little world for you to be in. It's very fun.
I played t-ball as a small child, and I had a very I wouldn't call it severe, but definitely an allergic reaction to the clay dust, where my eyes would get really puffy and red, and I couldn't see anything.
Someone bully this fucking guy. My God, you little fucking dork. That's brutal. You know, I can't talk because I played baseball for 3 years, age like 5 to 8. Age 8, I think, or maybe third grade is when they make you start wearing a cup.
Oh, I never got to that point.
And I was like a tiny little kid, and I had the cup like was just so big that I had to run like a cowboy base. You know, like my legs were just so out, and I was like, I literally told my dad, I was like, I'm not playing baseball anymore. So I didn't ever play again.
I don't even want to be around anymore.
Great job.
I did it.
Good thing you didn't hit like giggity.
Did you ever play baseball, Brian?
Oh, I was a lifer until like junior year of high school.
Let's go.
Dude. Yeah, small town. Dad coached every sport.
That's
every
oh my
team kind of
God.
thing.
That's a Kansas boy right there.
It's Kansas boy, man.
fucking
There's one
shit.
time before
I
a
didn't
summer
read
game.
shit.
I remember me and my buddy were helping a guy clear a storage unit, ex-military. So he gave us these like sunglass goggles, and I thought, shit, I'm gonna wear these in the game today. And I'm in the outfield wearing these sunglass goggles, and they're fogging up. I can't see a thing. And so They didn't hit to me that inning, but yeah, I was out in the outfield most of the life growing up.
Same, dude.
I love baseball, man. I don't know. It's hard to watch. The rule changes are weird, but like The Sandlot, I watched that probably when it came out, seen it like 4 or 5 times. It also is a baseball movie that isn't 100% gameplay. There's like some side plots.
Oh yeah.
So it really was just like the League of Their Own. The dog is going crazy. The League of Their Own thing. I don't know if remaking it with less of the sisters plot over like, younger sisters trying to compete more and all that. I don't know what would fix it beyond like a little more baseball and a little more Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I guess I
like
think
it.
that's it. I don't want to particularly single out Lori Petty as the problem, but like
No.
I didn't find that character very compelling.
I mean, I don't think this movie really has problems. I think that there are just certain movies that are made a certain way and came out in a certain time that it's just a vibe thing. Like this movie's really vibey. It's not really, it didn't really ring as a sports movie to me. Like it doesn't have the traditional like underdog. It kind of does a little bit, but you're not really rooting for them in the sense of like they have to win the big game.
That's sort of the thing is like, do we actually care about the outcome of these games? Not much. We care more about the outcome of the league. We want it to exist another year. And I think that's sort of why I felt a little bit lost when it came down to this final matchup between Lori Petty on her new team and her sister. And it's like, really what we're rooting for is for the league to just matter again. You know what I mean?
I didn't even care about that. I just cared about these people. I just kept thinking about why old Geena Davis doesn't want to go see her friends. And what is it about the interpersonal relationships that makes her be apprehensive about even going to the reunion?
Yeah. And I did like that aspect of it, that she just like, that was it for her. You know what I mean? Like she
just the one.
Yeah. Like, cause a lot of movies would do like the fake out where her husband's home. It's gorgeous Bill Pullman.
Ooh, we haven't even brought him up yet. Just coming home. Like full uniform.
Honey, it's me. And he would, and then she would be like, you know what? And then she'd be like, you know what? God damn it, I can't quit this sport. But no, she just like goes and has kids. Like she's done. And then she leaves.
Well, you couldn't be lesbian back then, so
facts. Yeah. She's like, God, I gotta go fuck Bill Pullman. Say what you want.
He's so hot.
He's fine looking, but like he's not like radiating like sex.
Because she got a great ass.
Wait.
And you got your head all the way up it.
All right. Thank you, Al. I don't know. It just, I enjoyed that. And the reason that you care about the league continues is because you care about these ladies and you sort of can't, you're like, well, if this league ends, then this is the last time they're ever going to see each other. They all live in like bumfuck nowhere. They don't live near each other.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't have the means to to travel to, visit and blah, blah, blah. So, ultimately I did enjoy where it went. And like I said, I didn't like the framing device at all in the beginning, but I thought it was a bit of a teary-eyed moment when they get their Hall of Fame exhibit and you get to see the whole gang.
They sing the song again.
Come on now. That was fun. I found that very enjoyable.
Nice.
And that little fucking shit of a son, the little child.
Yeah, he's a grown up.
What's his name?
Okay. We got to get to the categories, but this is a category pick for me. Okay. The moment where Tom Hanks fucking what does he throw at him? A glove? A ball glove?
Baseball mitt right at the nose.
That was so funny. That was the one moment that I was laughing so hard.
It was generally, that was a great little addition as just like, I don't know. It's a good classic comedy bit. It's just like, a grown adult just fucking hating a child. Just be like, I fucking hate that kid. Get him away from me.
Oh my God. Okay, real quick. Let me close out the Letterboxd list. Field of Dreams, 42, the Jackie Robinson movie from 2013. Bull Durham, The Benchwarmers.
Facts.
John Heaterhead's Rise Up.
That movie's all about the gameplay.
The Natural, Robert Redford. I've always heard that that's like the baseball movie. What do you think, Brian?
People say that. I've never seen it. But everyone, yeah, damn. There's one baseball movie with I think it's Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Field of Dreams. Where's that?
Yeah, that was up here.
That's
Field of Dreams. I've always wanted to see that one. Fever Pitch, we mentioned. Bad News Bears, the original from 1976. And then there's the remake with Billy Bob Thornton, which I do remember seeing. That was a Redbox rental.
Okay.
For me, growing up, was the Bad News Bears remake, which was not very good.
Well, there you have it.
Angels in the Outfield, Trouble with the Curve, Clint Eastwood film with Amy Adams and Justin Timberlake, apparently. For the Love of the Game, that's another Costner. I guess he actually plays a actual baseball player in that one. Hardball with Keanu.
Hey, I was hoping that would be there. I'm over here thinking, man, I'm not going to go into the whole plot. Hardball's a good movie. Anyone that hears this, freaking watch that.
If you're worried about spoiling, I wouldn't worry.
Bro, that movie has such a sad ending, but like Keanu Reeves, I didn't know him as some actor guy when I saw that. I didn't see Point Break till I was like 25, 26 maybe. I was a kid when I saw Hardball, and he plays a great inner city coach just trying to figure his shit out, and he's there for the kids. And I don't know. There's so many movies that I loved it.
Diane Lane, Michael B. Jordan. Man, I'm going to throw this on the watch list. This looks great. There's the Bad News Bears remake. Oh my God. Directed by Richard Linklater. 2005.
Yeah, you're right.
Holy crap.
Baseball's it's a good sport for movies because it has the least going on.
Yeah.
Like cinematically.
Down tempo.
You don't have to choreograph that much, even if you're showing some baseball action. Like you know what I mean? It's not like.
You don't even have to show any baseball. Look at Moneyball.
You don't have to do a lot of stunt acting. You don't have to like do like a week of rehearsals to watch these two guys like concuss each other or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It gets rid of a lot of that logistical headache that like shooting football or something would give you. And basketball too. Basketball's so hard to shoot. Like to passably.
Well, you got to cut a lot.
And there's no way to get around needing actors who are good at basketball.
Right.
Like you can't not do that. And they have to be big, they have to be giant. Like it's so fucking hard.
I mean, I think baseball translates particularly well to the cinema because of just how the buildup that comes, when you load up the bases and like the stakes of that hit when all the bases are loaded, like that just translates well.
Yeah, and
to movies.
And there are a lot of breaks between plays where you can cut to like characters reacting and shit. You know what I mean? It's not just like nonstop the way that like basketball is.
Is it the best sport for movies? What do you guys think of all the sports we just covered?
Dodgeball. Dodgeball.
You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball.
No, I'd heard baseball's like the best sport for film. I never really thought about why, but I don't know, it makes it an easy pace.
And little kids can play it, and so you can get The Sandlot, which rocks.
Okay, The Rookie, $1 Million Arm. Shout out to John Hamm. I hope he's okay. He's in the new season of Fargo, and he has nipple piercings. So.
Oh, yes.
At least something's happening, man. Yes. I need something. And then finally, I'm skipping over a lot. Oh, The Scout is in here. We're going to cover The Scout at some point, Brian. I promise.
Is that the one with Brendan Fraser?
Yeah. Air Bud. Air Bud, seventh inning fetch.
Wow.
Okay. That's all this was leading up to.
If I gave you guys like a day, do you think you would get to that title? If you were like, inning. I was like, you have a day to like brainstorm baseball, Air Bud. You know what I mean? Like, would you get there? I feel like we could get there within like 3 hours. Because you're throwing out base. But is that the best one?
No.
But so we have to find the better one. You guys keep talking. I'll be on this over here.
I mean, it's like I feel like home run fetch,
but that's not a pun. Seventh inning stretch.
Oh,
Seventh inning fetch. Yeah, so that's what they're working with.
okay.
That's that 90s Coke.
Hey, Richard Karn is in it.
No way. Well done. I should get an I don't think so, Tim.
Okay. All right. We should get to the categories. Any other kind of broader thoughts before we get into the categories on Tom Hanks, A League of Their Own? Anything we haven't mentioned so far?
I'm going to remember this as a baseball movie, even if I never watch it again. Also, if baseball's only a fifth of what the real movie is. I don't know. I have a hard time changing my opinion on a movie based on, aside from what I very first thought about it. And I don't know. I like it, but I won't go telling my friends to watch it unless they just really like Tom Hanks.
Right, yeah. Right. If you're being the completionist that we are on this series, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I'll also mention the movie did crack the top 10 of 1992 box office. It totaled $107 million. It was number 10. Mm-hmm. Number 1 that year was Aladdin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Previously covered in the Robin series. Great movie.
The rest of the top 10 is Home Alone 2, Batman Returns,
awesome.
Lethal Weapon 3, A Few Good Men, Sister Act, The Bodyguard, Wayne's World, Basic Instinct, and A League of Their Own.
We used to be a country.
Yeah.
My God.
That's a solid top 10 for 92 right there. And I think, pretty wide margin from the budget. The budget was only 40 mil. So that's a pretty sizable summer hit there. All right, so let's get to the categories. I think I like the Family Guy one more than that. There we go. Categories time, baby. All right. Let's start off with Run P. Thank you, Run P, for sponsoring this episode, brought to you by Run P app, where you can figure out when to go pee during a movie. When's the scene to go pee in this movie?
I don't know. I think one blessing of the movie is that, because we're not dealing with heavy plot, you could pee during a lot of the movie and not necessarily.
And I did.
Run B. Yeah, like you wouldn't miss something super integral. You know what I mean? But I would say really, something in the late first act, I would say maybe one of those repetitive scenes with the sisters, or maybe even an early scene of Jimmy Dugan being drunk and annoying, just because you're gonna get plenty more of that.
I do remember that there was a moment where I did want to go pee, but then I just kind of stood there and watched the movie, and I didn't leave the room because I was kind of drawn into it. And it was during those early moments where they're kind of, they're bringing the gang together.
Yeah.
I think once you have everyone together, that's when I think you can go. Any scene during that stretch. Don't miss the Madonna dance. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a bar, in a club type setting, you got to stay till the end of that, because I think that might be my favorite scene in the movie.
There you have it.
What about you, Brian? What's your Run piece scene?
All right, 2 thoughts. First, I was going to blanket statement. Whenever it's the 2 sisters talking and just seeing who can blunt, I don't like to be that guy, but there wasn't plot advancement when it starts with them being uber competitive and it ends with Geena. I think she threw the game. I think she dropped the ball at the end on purpose.
Ooh.
I guess that's a debate I didn't know existed.
No, I like this take. This complicates things. I like it.
She's a good older sister.
Yeah, and that is, to its credit, that is pretty well choreographed, where it really could go either way. It looks like quite a collision. So maybe, maybe it was on accident, but she's just so good at baseball that you know what I mean? You're like, we haven't seen her fuck up once.
No,
she can't help
in
it.
a couple, 20 minutes before that, they do an into the game scene where Geena Davis doesn't drop the ball, but gets trucked by another team lady running third, coming towards home, just knocks her off her feet. doesn't drop the ball though, so the runner's out at home. So
And she does. Geena is ready to, she's ready to hang it up and retire. She showed up, on this last game to give it a go, but she does, she loves her little sister. She's, she's a good sis. So I kind of agree with you. I think it was like really heat of the moment, but it was one of those things where she was like, is it the worst thing in the world if I lose this ball?
She's probably already out at that point. She knows that she's not sticking around. So
yeah.
Okay.
I do one more thought real quick.
Yeah.
All right. So I was going to say Run P. I had this flashback a couple episodes when y'all were starting to talk about it. I was on Reddit in like 2009 or 10, and I heard about Run P because it was like ex NFL player starts app that lets you know when to pee.
Ex NFL player.
It's Carson Palmer's little brother, Josh Palmer.
What?
Yeah, I had to Google that to double check because like how many apps can show you when to pee during a movie?
Not Josh Palmer. There's a current receiver named Josh Palmer. Is this another Josh Palmer?
Oh, the Chargers. I just remember, I think it was a Joshua. It was like a Palmer's little brother, the Bengals old quarterback.
Oh my God. Because the other
to God, I saw this. Yeah.
Dan is our...
That's our guy. The other, because the other Palmer younger brother is Jesse Palmer, who's of course host of The Bachelor now.
Oh, nice.
Dan, I am so sorry. Dan, I am so sorry if I got.
Well, it might be a multi.
Could have sold it off years ago or new people maybe.
Well, you know how these things are. Like one guy's like, "Hey man, I really gotta figure out when I need to go to the bathroom," and then another guy's like, "Yo, I'll code an app for you, bro."
Yeah, this one for Run P, it says Dan Gardner is a North Carolina based developer who created it.
Hey,
they wrote a damned.
They might be buddies.
They did a Guardian interview with him this year.
Oh, wow.
Look
at y'all.
We're getting in right at the right time.
Who wrote the Guardian article?
Malcolm Gladwell. No. Not going to try to say
Anderson Cooper.
Ronan Farrow. He's actually been canceled. Dan is canceled. No, so yeah, good on Dan. I can tell just by looking at him, he'd never played in any sports league. We love you, Dan. Come on the pod. Come on someday.
I thought that was going to be Tim Allen. I gotta
We gotta label these somehow.
Well, they are labeled on the screen.
Yeah, but labeled as what? Like what I called the files?
Yeah.
Oh,
but then I gotta flip back. It's two different boards.
Okay.
I gotta flip back. Okay. Next category is called Tom Swap. Could the other Tom do this role? Could Cruise be Hanks in this film?
I'd love to see him try because he sucks at playing drunk guys.
Yeah, the whole drunk angle would have to probably be recalibrated.
He can't do that. Like he can,
but I think he would be a great sports coach. I would love to see Tom Cruise play a sports coach.
I know, but he's for most of the movie, he's playing a sports coach who's notably not a sports coach.
Right. The movie would change considerably.
He would have to start caring like sooner.
Yeah. No, I don't see Cruise playing a guy who's like disengaged.
Yeah.
Who's like out of it. He can't do that.
Yeah. He's too focused.
Right.
So I'm saying no.
Yeah. As it stands, no. What about you,
I'm
Bryan?
with you guys. I don't picture him being, he can play tough, but I don't picture him as a tough guy, really, an ex-ball player type. I just feel like he'd be a little too over ambitious or a little over leadership-y. I don't know. It wouldn't be the same Tom Hanks role. So
yeah,
no.
It would have to change. So as written, no. Next category is what's your favorite scene? What's your favorite scene in the film?
The bar sequence that ends with the one lady doing karaoke and getting laid.
That's the same scene that has Madonna dancing, or is that different?
I don't know. Is it a different scene? I don't know. I just remember this one is with Marla Hooch doing.
I think it is. Yeah, Geena shows up to pick the team up from the bar, and everyone's
they're all
doing
something.
Faced. Yeah, and then they cut to the lady. She's singing her heart out to some fella leaning against the wall.
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'll take her home. Don't worry." I remember that scene. That was a good one.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, if we're saying that whole sequence, that whole out at the club, out at the bar sequence, I'll pick that. I I don't know. I really like the stuff where they're kind of just in the locker room or on the bus. There's a lot of moments there.
Yeah, the bus stuff rocks.
I don't know if I could. There is that one big bus scene where you kind of introduced the kid with chocolate all over his face, and the bus driver leaves.
His name is Stillwell, by the way, which is a really funny name. And he's like a cartoonishly like shitty. Like he might as well be wearing like a little sailor outfit and licking a big lollipop
with a Hearshot hat, propeller hat.
Little double hit there.
Wow, he's very nice.
All right. Any other favorite scene nominees?
No. You know what I was just thinking though is in Hunter's absence, what we should have had him do is send us a bunch of little sound bites of him, and we wouldn't have to tell anyone that he's not here. We could see how long we could.
Wait, no, he did send one. He did send one.
Oh,
Let
great.
me play it.
Okay.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of Doctor Strange.
Thanks, Hunter.
That's I think my favorite one that I selected out of all of them. Some LCJ love. We love you, Lights Camera Jackson.
Okay. Next category is what is the most iconic moment? I mean, there's no crying in baseball.
Yeah, which I don't really know why.
Because it's just Hanks being Hanks.
I know.
You don't get a lot of it in this movie. It's like the one moment.
I know. I thought that scene would be more consequential, I guess. Like watching it, it was just like
it's just him being an asshole.
Yeah. I don't know.
He lays into her more than I remember. Like I remember him yelling it because she starts crying, but then he says it like 6 times and the umpire walks over and he's like, "Why are you yelling?" And there's no crying in baseball. It did a lot of beratement.
It really is. He's so fucking mean to her.
Yeah.
And and speaking toward going against type, I think it's almost like a Walter White situation where like every scene you're like, maybe this is the scene where he stops being so mean. Like, please. And then he finally, he wises up a little bit, but like, holy shit, he's mean.
I did really like the moment when the one girl finds out about her dead husband in the war.
That was cool.
That was like the one moment where you do get like some kind of humanity from Hanks there, even if he's still being very abrasive. Like he doesn't drop the shtick, but that's the one moment where he's like, okay, there is like some humanity here. He's not just being an endless asshole.
Yeah.
Also got to shout out the urination, the throttle of his entrance to the team where he is just peeing.
Yeah.
So hard.
Takes like a fat piss.
Yeah. It's like, damn, that's a man.
An
That's a boy.
Insanely fat piss.
I love that.
Yeah, good on him for that.
That's a 1940s man right there.
Guys just had wider urethras back then. It's like a fire hose.
It's all the alcohol.
Sounds like he's frying chicken.
All you need is baseball and alcohol. Probably what? He's probably taking dips, right? Some chewing tobacco.
Facts.
I don't think they show any of that in the movie.
They never show him putting one in, but he's spitting the whole movie.
Yes, he is.
And then like, I didn't remember that.
Now lately, all
It's
these
just a baseball thing.
now all these damn kids, he'd be on freaking White Claws and Zin.
Yeah. Did they tell you in your JV team that you had to put a dip in if you wanted to go at bat?
Bro, they'd say no, I don't know, they'd say sunflower seeds only, but then you'd have some of the varsity guys when I was a freshman having like a mouth of sunflower seeds, but a big pinch of chaw in their mouth. Dude, dipping tobacco was a thing in Wamego. And
I thought I saw some leukoplakia in that mouth ears, Bri.
Dude, at our high school, we went to school with some guys who definitely did not play baseball Or maybe like spiritually.
It was
they
like
did.
it was like baseball stolen valor.
Yeah. They did so much dip.
Yeah, crazy.
All the dip.
I've been thinking about a lot how I know that Zen culture has taken our old high school like by fucking storm.
I can't explain it.
They're all on Zen, I promise. I've genuinely thought I have certain days at work where I'm like so tired. I'm like, should I just like get addicted to nicotine or something? Will that help with this?
Don't do it.
Let me introduce you to a little thing called water. Water.
I don't get it.
Drink it up.
I don't even want to be around anymore.
Facts.
All right. Next category is fellas WYD. What would you do?
Who are we?
You're an ex-baseball player. You have a bunk leg. You have a heavy drinking problem, and you're asked to coach a ladies team.
I don't know. I'd probably keep drinking and hate it for a long time and then slowly come around. But yeah. The one of my favorite reviews on Letterboxd for this movie is like, I like how Jimmy Dugan never addresses his alcoholism and then dies not long after. It's very, very period accurate.
Yeah, because the framing device is supposed to be at least late 80s, if not early 90s.
Yeah.
So it's like he almost got there.
Bro's dead.
Yeah. I don't know. If you're one of the ladies, maybe, do you go play some ball?
Oh, yeah. Man, I was thinking like, what do you do if that kid's 20 feet in front of you and you're in the dugout? Like you pick the glove and throw it at his face.
That's true.
That little kid, bro, when it cuts to the scene of him, like there's no kids traveling with teams. And then it's like, well, the kid's traveling with the team now. And he covers the bus driver's eyes.
Yeah.
For like
what a little shit that boy was.
I hated that kid, man.
Still well. And his mom's just got no grip on him. Like there's no,
she's not even trying.
Parent your damn kid. I know they didn't have like car seats back then, but my God.
All right. Next category is let's score the Hanks on the Hanks scale. Well, 1 to 5. This is pretty low. I mean, if the main factor in the Hanks scale, I think, is just like general likability.
Do we go 1 to 5?
That's what we're doing for this series.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you're right.
Because that's what we were doing. We started with the cruise.
Yeah.
Face.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be really low in some aspects of Hanksiness, obviously, because the majority of Hanksiness is having warmth and inherent. Like
it's got to be like a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, I'd say yeah. Although another facet of Hanksiness is sort of what he gets to do in this movie, which is like at times he sounds like Jimmy Stewart almost, like voice wise, like he's going like oh
there's no crying in baseball.
The Batman.
I thought the Woody comparison was good, man. He hits his range and he like does get loud and does his boisterous and Tom Hanks shit, but I don't know. I'm cool with a 1 or a 2 on my end.
Yeah, just because I don't know if we're going to be able to go lower, because we're not going to watch any of his more recent shit where he's just like not very likable and muted. So I'll say a 1 for the purposes of this series.
I do think that the voice point is very valid. Like even if the character is very unlikable,
he gets to be goofy.
The performance is not muted.
No.
So he does play around in there.
Let's go. I'm going to go 1.5.
Yeah. It's somewhere. It's not rock bottom. I do think that one of the things that I'm really glad about covering this movie is like, it kind of does interrogate like the idea of Tom Hanks, like being just one kind of guy, and I think that we are generally going to see one kind of guy, but it offers a different angle, a different sort of prism to view a lot of his performances where it's like, okay, maybe there is more dimensionality here than we originally thought. So I'm excited to kind of see where that goes through the series. All right, last category, recaging and re-Robin couch. Where is Nicolas Cage and Robin Williams in this film?
All right, I don't want to nerd out, but I've been thinking about this. Nice. And I like the movie 42. I remember seeing that when it came out, and it's got Alan Tudyk
Tudyk.
I don't remember it.
The
Tudyk.
blonde guy.
Okay. Yeah. It's got him as not a great guy, but he's just one of the other teams they play. He's their coach. And there's a lot of interaction between Jackie Robinson and the other team's coaches throughout the movie. And I was watching this thinking, I'd love Nick Cage to just be uncaged as another team's coach and just having fun, man. I'd like that.
Yeah, he's playing the former player who got like one more home run than Tom Hanks. You know, and he sort of inspires Hanks to like sober up and like really get going.
I think it would be fun to have. Give me like 15 minutes. You don't even have to do 15. Do 10 minutes of this movie where there's a game where it's all like the opposite people in the team. Very like Recess.
Yeah.
The animated show.
Yeah.
It's been done a million times, but it's like each person has like their anti-person.
Mm-hmm. I've tried to find this thing on TV tropes because like it's one of my favorite tropes.
Yeah.
And there are like similar ideas on TV tropes, but none that are particularly like that. Like the episode of the sitcom where they meet
all the anti
like Drew and Jerry on Drake and
nega.
Josh. There's a Seinfeld where Elaine becomes friends with like alternate universe Seinfeld characters. Awesome trope. So that'd be fun. You're right.
Yeah. So you get Hanks meeting
instead of Rosie O'Donnell, it's like Roseanne. Instead of Madonna, it's like Paula Abdul. That would rock.
Instead of Geena Davis, it's Susan Sarandon.
Yo, I'd root for that team. So I want to say that I would love to see Cage be Jimmy Dugan. I think maybe a few years after this, like around like peak Cage, like 95, 96, 97, I think he could do it. I'd love to watch it.
But then again, it goes back to the Cruise point where you kind of, it's what Brian was just saying. You kind of want to see Cage like cage out. And I think a lot of what Hanks is doing is very like, I'm drunk and I'm just kind of wandering around.
Cage, you can't stop Cage from caging out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
he will go fucking balls out.
You weren't here, much like Hunter is not here now. You weren't here for a Leaving Las Vegas episode.
You think he's gonna fucking take it? You think he's gonna fucking kill himself?
He's gonna drink himself to death. He's gonna be passed out in the dugout. No one's gonna be able to wake him up.
Yeah, probably. You're probably so right. I'm sure that
you gotta introduce like you gotta throw this into, you gotta give him speed or something. I don't know, or benzos. I don't know what the 1940s cocaine was. But you gotta hype him up so he can go fucking nuts.
Did they have amphetamines back then?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
They were inventing them.
Smelling salts.
And then Robin, I don't know. Why don't we just cut to the announcer? What, isn't there an announcer guy who's like, hey, if you're around, if you're near the stadium, come on by.
Mm-hmm.
Just get that to Robin.
Yeah. They're making a joke in one of the scenes about like the announcer saying on live, he's like, and the listening radius isn't that like wide. So if you're hearing this, please come down. Dude, Robin would make a good announcer.
Yeah. They'd let him cook a little, you know, he'd make some funny jokes.
Give him a little mini arc where it's the same announcer at every single game. It's just Robin every time.
Yeah. Touring announcer.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
And he's like, well, I didn't, I didn't really vibe with these ladies, but now they won me over and I can't help it. I can't help but root for them.
My last one, I'd like to see either Nick or Robin Williams as like a bus driver that doesn't quit the team and he's just like part of the team.
Sure.
Really owns it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sort of like a Robin would be good at that, playing like a low status type dude, you know, who's just like borderline homeless.
What if Cage is Bill Pullman? He's the hot husband.
Yeah, he gets back
home from the war.
And you're like, oh my.
Don't tell me you're playing baseball. You're playing ball, girl.
Bill Pullman does absolutely nothing in this movie.
Yeah.
It's really fun to see the stereotype flipped on its head, you know, where he's just like useless hunk. That was fun.
I didn't reckon I know he's like more famous. I didn't remember the name Bill Pullman, but when he walked on the screen, he reminded me of like a mix of Viggo Mortensen and the nerdy guy from Daddy Daycare without glasses.
Steve Zahn.
Yeah. Steve Zahn. There's these guys. I'm like, that's a familiar face.
Those,
but, they could Bill Pullman.
They could all be related. They could all be brothers.
All right. Any final thoughts on A League of Their Own? Tom Hanks.
Really good movie, really enjoyable. You're right that it's hard to critique the movie just because like it accomplishes what it's going for. But if I am to critique it, it's like it's not like I want this movie to be like a more dramatic, like plot-based baseball movie, but I want there to be more focus in the script. Like right. I want to figure out who we're spending our time with, because we jump around really randomly in this movie.
It's paired back. Before we close out, I got to read our guy Ebert. He gave it 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
He said the movie has a real bittersweet charm. The baseball sequences we've seen before. What's fresh are the personalities of the players, the gradual unfolding of their coach, and the way this early chapter of women's liberation fit into the hidebound traditions of professional baseball. So I think at the time people really liked it. I think it might just be one of those movies where it hasn't quite aged as well, because sports movies have evolved a lot in the past 30 years. And now we have these kind of larger than life, really kind of epic tales. And this is pretty small. This is not, this grand, overly dramatic thing. It's mostly just kind of like a vibe hangout movie.
Yeah, that's definitely valid. And also, baseball doesn't matter as much as
that's the other thing. Yeah.
As far as the national zeitgeist goes.
Hey, didn't the what was it? The Dodgers or the
what is bro talking
Shohei
about?
Sweepstakes. He's staying in California. Dodgers got him for what was it, like 10 years, 700 million?
Yep.
The record.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Dude rocks. He's like a modern day Babe Ruth, and your average person has no fucking clue who the fuck that is. It's crazy.
29 years old, from Japan.
Dude's built as absolute fuck.
Let's go.
He hits the shit out of
Maybe
it.
I'm gonna get really into baseball in my 30s.
I don't think you will. I think if you gave it a shot, I think it would be like 2 weeks.
Could Hunter show me how to like make money off of betting on baseball?
No run first innings in FRI.
Yeah, that's
sorry. It's a stat.
Brian's your guy for that.
Okay. We'll chat.
There's this whole change going on with baseball where like they're changing the rules, try to keep the younger crowd involved and like not lose viewership because the old guard is aging. And so it's like they changed all these simple rules to the game, or pitch clocks and all these things. But on that thought, Ernest, I don't know like if it'll get more enjoyable than just baseball with some tweaks. It's such a weird sport for being like the pastime they played for 130 years. But
it's built into baseball, like what baseball is. It's a very leisurely sport. Like it's
a hangout.
It takes its time. Yeah, it's a vibey sport. And I never got super into it. I think mostly just because like that wasn't the sport I was indoctrinated into.
Right.
That was football. But yeah, it's hard to find its place in a really fast paced, like, ADHD world. Like I have a hard time sitting down and focusing on baseball. I really do.
Boring as hell.
So a couple months ago, I had to travel to rural Michigan for work, and I was there a couple extra days. So I bounced over to Detroit. First time in Detroit, really liked it. I was only there for like, I don't know, maybe a little over 24 hours or something like that. But I just kind of went into the city just to find something to do. And I parked in this parking garage that was like literally between a baseball field and a music hall. It was like right in the center of town. There's a huge baseball field. I think there's also a football stadium too. I could kind of tell. And there was a baseball game happening. And that was when I saw the Jackson 5 or the Jackson 2. And I had no idea that any of this was happening. I was just looking for something to do. And after I get out of the concert, the baseball game is also getting out, and it just spills out into the streets. All the people from the concert and all the people from the game. And I was like, damn, Detroit's got it going on. A lot of young people at this baseball game, like having a great time. Their bellies are full of beer and hot dogs, and they're just walking around the streets smiling.
Hey, well, you can get yourself a house there for like $10,000 if you'd like.
I mean, it was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I mean, I'd love to visit. I want to visit more like Midwestern spots. You know, I mean, have you been to? You're closer than we are. Way closer, Brian.
Yeah, I'm like Manhattan's about 2 hours from KC, and it's the Royals baseball stadium shares the parking lot with the Chiefs stadium. And so it's just this miles long stretch of land of two stadiums, bunch of parking in the middle. And it's weird, you know, it's like baseball television product isn't as sick as a lot of things, but like baseball culture and going to the game, that's, I don't know. I don't think the culture goes away. And like me and my girlfriend, aunt's birthday party at a Royals game, had a damn good time, and it also took about 2.5 hours because of these rule changes and pitch clocks, and but it's a good hangout. It's just not super exciting on TV. So I don't know, that whole Detroit situation, I don't want that to go away, but
that's a good point, is the televised experience versus the in-person.
Yeah, it's tough. And you know, much like the NBA, but even worse, the owners are too greedy to reduce the amount of games that are played in baseball. And so you get like 160 something per year or something like that. Like, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is 160, I think.
That is, I mean, that's the one thing that football, you know, that sort of keeps football atop the food chain in America, is every game does matter, like, a lot.
What if I get like a Detroit Tigers jersey and a hat, and I just wear it on the podcast every week?
That'd actually be sick.
Okay.
It would be sick.
That's one thing. Baseball jerseys are very cool. Like they are, like with the button down, like they're cooler looking than fucking football jerseys.
I think we've come all the way around. I think when we were younger, baseball kids would get made fun of. And now it's like, wow, you're kind of hip. You're kind of like in with like the old school. It's vintage.
Yeah. All these fucking Brooklyn hipsters going to their baseball games.
In the hot dogs.
Very, very last thought on baseball stuff. It's so Kansas City's thinking about moving the Royal Stadium to a downtown area instead of like a mile outside of town by the airport, just to do the Boston Red Sox thing where they bought like 3 blocks around the stadium in either direction. And it's like this whole marketplace hangout, can't park for shit close to the stadium, but it's like this whole little small village leading up to it. Yeah, I don't know. It just came to mind.
That the White Sox is Chicago, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because I think that's who they were playing. I think that's why that game was so lit, because I think it was the White Sox.
That makes sense.
If I remember correctly.
Rivalry.
Yeah, it's right there in Great Lakes area. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on A League of Their Own. Tom Hanks, Penny Marshall did a great job. You know, knocked it out of the park.
Oh,
or at least a triple, maybe a double sliding in, you know.
Yeah, she did a good job.
She didn't drop the ball.
No way.
She held on to that ball.
Yeah. Okay. Big is a home run.
Right. Exactly. Like and comment, and check out weboughtamic.net and patreon.com/weboughtamic. Get every episode in your inbox. Get some exclusive goodies. Join the Discord. Thank you all the donors for donating. Thank you, Brian, for supporting our show. You've been a devout executive producer donor of the show. We really, really thank you so much. Please let the people know what you got going on if you want to plug anything.
Yeah, I'm going to rewatch Cocktail by Tom Cruise for the 10th time. Love when y'all talk about that. I did watch that when I was a bartender in college off my dad's recommendation. My Twitter is not interesting, and I'm Yeah, man, I need to get some things going for next episode. Tell the gang what to go follow. I just want some thoughts and prayers for K-State men's basketball as we try to repeat a Final Four run. And there's this renaissance going in Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, where I don't know, man. Right place, right time. It's a cool spot. So if the pod ever wants to hit Kansas, let's go.
Let's go to fucking Kansas.
Middle America.
Kansas is dope,
Middle
man.
America needs WBAM right now.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do it. Thanks again for coming on, man. Great time. Maybe the listeners can check in on the old ball game once in a while. Keep it alive. Keep it going. Next week, it's gonna be all right. So here's the plan for the rest of the year. The next series episode is going to be The Firm. We're going to do an episode on The Firm, the Tom Cruise film. We are also going to cover Wonka, the movie Wonka, which we are seeing tomorrow. Okay. So that's the plan coming up. You're also going to get or I guess at this point, it's probably already live, a deep dive on The Killer, the David Fincher movie. Shout out to our boy.
I think people are perverts.
Well done.
And I think that'll be it for 2023. A little Wonka, a little Cruise, and a little Finch. And that'll close the book on the year before we do a full-on retrospective Listomania in January. So, yeah. Thanks again. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks again, Bryan. Keep it WBAMmy.
Bye.
We love you. Bye.